What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Bladen Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponauer and Theo Ash. We have a great episode planned for you all today. We're going to go over just the NFL storylines that have been going on, a little bit of info we need to recap, and then we are going to rank our top 5 offenses going into the NFL season. But before we get into all of that, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing today?
Doing all right. I just got back from Miami. As you know.
As I know.
Yeah.
It's always great to see Matthew Sponauer. We missed you, Theo. We missed you, Theo.
What have you been up to, buddy? Moving into a new apartment?
Yeah, I don't have any decorations up or anything, but like my bed is made and all my stuff is in here. Literally right before this podcast, like half an hour before, I rearranged my bed and my desk and all of that, and I like it better now. It's comically small. That's the thing.
Your
about
bedroom?
This place. Yes, it's very small. But you know,
too. It's okay.
You know, why do you have a Raiders flag behind you?
You remember when we went to Raiders camp?
Yeah.
And they gave us like the flag?
Yeah.
I had a little extra wall space, so I just put it there.
The a pirate, you know.
Yeah.
About that time of year.
Fair enough.
I'm going to be going to a poster sale here in a couple days, so I'll probably get some more posters, and I might switch that out for something else. Who knows?
I guess that makes a little bit of sense.
Sale. I think
if you keep it up the whole year, I would say, like, why do you have a flag up of a team that you don't care about that much?
Yeah, maybe that'll be like that could be like a rotating poster or flag. We'll see. It could change.
Get some of all 32 teams. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty small, but you know, I look at it on the bright side. I'm like, it's cozy. All right. It's like a little hole in the wall. It's a cozy little space. So, I don't know. I can just lift my phone up. I got my bed with a bunch of shit on it and then my keyboard. And that's basically all the room I have. That's basically all of it. But yeah, I've been doing that. As you know, Matt, you know, I decided to come back for another episode after threatening to quit over you yelling at me about Justin Tucker last episode.
I'm very sorry,
but
I've had some time to reflect, and
You agree with us now, right?
No. But you're entitled to your own opinion.
So I almost quit the show. I moved in. My head cooled a little bit, and now I'm back.
There's a lot of drama in the Stay Hot podcast scene, I'm afraid. But
yeah, there is. There is. I quit. Yeah, I quit. Then you quit, and then Bladen quit, and then we all came back. That's what happened behind the scenes.
The whole Stay Hot podcast quit.
Yes.
But it's okay. We're all here today, and that's all that matters.
You're right.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at OddsTrader. For play-by-play updates, live scores, and bet tracking, OddsTrader is the place to go. They have the best price on every game and sign-up offers for multiple sports books. Plus, they have player statistics, key game stats, and even projected game day weather. You can use their bet tracker to keep records of all your games and betting activity. OddsTrader.com is the #1 site for all your game day bets. To begin your handicapping journey, make sure to go to oddstrader.com/bluewire. OddsTrader is the beginning of your best bets for all sports. Download from the App Store today.
All right. Now, let's talk about some football. In NFL news, or I guess in Cleveland Browns news, Deshaun Watson has been suspended for 11 games and fined, $5 million?
Yeah, it's more significant than 6. I think it cooks their season.
It does.
I think that's probably the real difference here.
I mean, I thought the season would kind of be cooked anyway.
6 games they could fight through. 11, probably not. And how tough the AFC is, with how tough the AFC is, they probably can't get through that.
It's so funny because they play the Texans week 12. That'll be his first game back. So shameless. Oh my God.
They were like, we're going to make a quick buck off of this. And they're going to. I
thought that it had something to do with him accruing a season. I know like an accrued season in the NFL is 6 games, right? You have to play 6 games. Well, if you suspend somebody 12 games, then they only play 5. So I wonder if that's what it was too. But both those things have kind of lined up. It's obviously not enough, but at least the Browns are shot this year.
Yeah.
With their interior defensive line, Derek Klassen is a guy I like a lot. He's a good follow on Twitter. QB Class has been tweeting out a bunch of clips of the Browns' run defense last year, and it's bad. It's not good.
I remember.
And then they have not. They got worse up front in the defensive tackle department. So, yeah, this will probably be one of the worst run defenses in the entire league, and they'll have Jacoby Brissett starting for 11 games. Yeah, they're done. They're cooked. They're secondary. There's some talent there.
Their front seven's rough though. Outside of Garrett, Clowney,
really
maybe
JOK. That's it.
The interior of the defensive line is bad. So it's really bad. It's perhaps the worst unit in the entire league is the Browns' interior defensive alignment. So they should be able to be run all over, and they don't have a quarterback. So it's not going to be a great offense or a great.
It's like imagine if the Chargers had like Tyrod Taylor last year. That's basically what the Browns are going to be this year.
Yep,
not great.
Not great.
Yeah, not great at all. So hate to see it.
I'm feeling a good 5 wins.
5
with Watson. Yeah, 5.
Really?
Do you think that's too high or too low?
Too low. I
think they're going to be hovering around 500.
I think they can still get 8. I think 8's like a fair margin.
5 and 8 are not that different.
That's a 3. That's a 3-win gap. But I guess like we talked about Bangle when we talked to Bangle, he was like over 3, under 3. So you think the Browns could have anywhere from 2 to 8 wins?
5 is bad. 8 is mediocre, I would say. So I guess
I think I think the Browns are like mediocre, right? I think that's fair. They still have a great offensive line, and they have a great run game. It's like they're still going to be able to win some games.
If Cooper gets hurt, they're so cooked, dude. They're so cooked.
Hey, that's if. But like,
then they have the worst interior defensive lineman and the worst wide receiving core and the worst starting quarterback. Like they're one injury away from that being their reality, and it's already close to their reality.
You think we'd have the worst receiving core without?
Yes, obviously, extremely obviously.
Who would you say is worse?
I guess, it'd be like Donovan Peoples-Jones and
David Bell. Yeah, David Bell. It would be like them and the Bears and the Packers, like chilling. With the worst.
I was about to say maybe the Bears, but Darnell Mooney would probably be wide receiver 2 on the Browns right now. So,
yeah.
I fear. Okay. Yeah, Browns. I still think like 8, but I don't know. We'll see. Theo, you want to talk about the Jags front 7? I know that was something that you were looking into a little bit.
The preseason week 2 has been happening. So, I've been watching some of those games, and I think that was the unit that really popped off the screen for me. Or maybe it was the Steelers' offensive line. I don't know. But the Jags gave the ones, obviously not the true ones. There's some, backups scattered in here and there. But Trayvon Walker was playing, and Josh Allen was playing, and the guy they got from the Jets, Falarunzu Fatukasi, I think, was out there, and Smoot. And they were killing. They were killing the Pittsburgh Steelers, like, in that first quarter.
Now, to be entirely fair, the Steelers are not very good up front. Like,
well, that's why it's kind of both a story. Their pressure rate was probably 100% when Mitch Trubisky was out there. I swear to God. And every run went for about 2 yards, or maybe less. They probably averaged 0 yards per carry with the pressure rate of 100%. It was really eye-opening what Josh Allen was able to do to them. I mean, he probably registered 5 pressures in that game. It was crazy. So it was definitely something that, like, when you look at the Steelers, I think they've had a really interesting preseason, or because they've got Pickens and they've got Pickett, and they're, a team that has, I think, a pretty wide range of outcomes this year. And I don't know how to feel about them, because I think Pickett has looked quite good in the preseason. But man, that offensive line is just so bad. And
it's not good.
It's not good at all. And I think the Jaguars can, and I think it's a little bit of both. Like, the Jaguars front 7. I think it's going to be pleasantly surprising this year, but I really just, man, if that unit, which I don't think is going to be a horrible unit, but if any unit is looking like that, I mean, obviously it's preseason and the Steelers have a chance to figure it out, but given the talent on their line and what they've done the past 2 years, they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt that they're going to like just fix it. So
let me ask you this. Yeah. Let's say hypothetically the Jaguars had traded for like AJ Brown or gotten some other like really high level receiver. What would you project them to be doing right now? Because outside of the fact that they don't really have a true number one receiver, team's pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, I've had them at 7 wins. I think if you gave them like AJ Brown, like a top tier wide receiver as a weapon, I still don't trust the secondary a whole lot. But I mean, if they had a top flight wide receiver, I think I could add a win or two, and that gets them at 8-9 wins. That has them hovering, going from the worst team to the league to like around 500. Maybe in wild card contention, which is pretty crazy. But I really have liked and Lawrence, he got off a little bit slow in that game. There were some missed passes to Kirk on the sideline that were bad. And I kind of am like, you could work on the accuracy, but man, he had a drive in the second quarter of that game. And yes, it was against backups, but the windows that he was placing those throws in were like not bad. Like it was good coverage is good coverage, whether it be Jalen Ramsey doing it or some Steelers fifth string, right? A tight window is a tight window. And he was just hitting some ridiculous throws. And I'm this close to saying he has the best pocket presence in the league, Lawrence. So yeah, I'd project if they could next year, playoffs is the goal for them. And Lawrence has to, like, the accuracy is, I think, a legitimate thing where I like raising my eyebrow, but everything else is there. And he hit some crazy accurate throws in that game as well, right over like the outstretched hands of some of these defenders. I'm excited for the Jaguars' future. They're a team that I'm really rooting for. And I like Lawrence a lot. I'm rooting for them to turn it around.
When I made my Jaguars prediction, I was very adamant that I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on this team a little bit. I don't think people we've talked about before how much Urban Meyer held back this team last year. And I think like just adding Doug Peterson alone makes them a significant, I think that alone is like a 5-win team. And then you think about like what they've done in the off season. I think, 7 wins. I think that's what I gave them was 7 wins.
I mean, how quick did the Browns turn it around after firing the second worst coach I've probably ever seen, Hugh Jackson? They were in the playoffs, 2 years later?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they went 7-8-1, and then they went 10-6.
I think that we could see a similar. I think we could see a similar trajectory for the Panthers. Sorry, Matt. The Jaguars, the other big cat.
We could see the same thing with the Panthers.
Yeah, number 1 overall pick, fired this incompetent head coach. Maybe get about 7-8 wins the next year, and then after that, you're all good. And I think Lawrence is better than Mayfield. I don't think Trayvon Walker is as good as Myles Garrett, but he's been super impressive this preseason. I've really liked what I've seen from him and Josh Allen. So yeah, I think they're on that trajectory, like much like the Browns were at. But I think it's a little bit more sustainable because I think Lawrence is him more than I think Baker was ever him. So yeah. Speaking of Baker,
Sam Howell.
He doesn't have to worry about Matt Corral taking his job anymore. At least
the Panthers' season is cooked. I fear
they're cooked. This is like the worst possible thing that could have happened. Pretty much, the Corral pick is now like a complete waste. I think. What do you do? So, are we not going if we need a quarterback next year, first round, are we not drafting one?
Yeah, that's really crazy.
Yep. It's out the window now. If you either roll with Corral into year 2 because you trust him that much, which would be pretty insane to do for a 3rd rounder, or you just wasted 2/3.
It is not possible to have Corral as your starter year 2. It will not happen. That is a stone cold promise.
And you can't see him in practice at all. Like
Corral is not good enough where you avoid drafting CJ Stroud or avoid drafting Will Levis or Bryce Young or Anthony Richardson. Like, no, this
is a disaster. This is just, and I didn't hate the pick, but
Corral showed some flashes
at the time. It was a good pick at the time in the 3rd round. It's like, okay, he's a decently talented quarterback in the 3rd round. Your only guy there was Darnold. Baker was not there. So it was only Darnold. It's like, okay, I get it. But then once you bring in Baker, all of a sudden Corral is the third or fourth string, and now Corral is just not even going to play at all. So yeah, it probably is going to end up being a waste, and it's just a casualty of them just having no plan at the quarterback position and just throwing stuff at the wall over and over again, and they're going to have to keep doing it. And yeah,
I mean, Corral showed some flashes in practice, but in the actual preseason games, he has looked
horrible,
sloppy.
Yeah,
he's looked bad. He is, and this doesn't even make any sense because he is already. He's years away from being able to go and drop back. Yeah. And I like the pick. Like in a vacuum, Corral in the third is like pretty cool. But when you look at it from the Panthers' perspective, are we going to just keep like half investing in quarterbacks? Because we haven't gone and made like the big, purchase of a quarterback. We haven't spent the big picks, but we're down a bunch of money and a second and 2/3 and a fourth and a fifth and a sixth. And we've ended up with Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, Baker, and Matt Corral. Awesome.
Yeah,
that's terrible. It's horrible.
One of the worst investments.
And this is going to be their fifth straight season of winning like 5 games. Half a decade. They're a terrible team. Carolina sports is awful right now.
They need to draft a quarterback in the first round. Now, you can mock that right now. Unless Baker just lights the world on fire and is like undeniably a good quarterback.
He would have to be better than he's ever been, because even then, if he's like, this is the worst case scenario. Baker is mediocre. We give him a solid contract, and then we have Corral in the wings. That would be terrible. And you can already see that happening and that playing out, because the Panthers will probably win too many games to be like in the CJ Stroud, Bryce Young running,
this is a deep quarterback class. So if you have 8 wins, you should still be able to get yourself at least, and maybe they'll trade up and put even more resources in.
Man.
But anyway, Will Levis, our friend of the show, will be a Panther next year, is what this means. But I don't know.
Matt, we're planning to go. We're planning to go see Will Levis, right? Like,
we might. We might
go
see him week 1.
Miami and Kentucky.
Week 1?
Miami.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So it should be an interesting game. Nah, man. Miami's getting the W. Will Levis will have a good game, but it won't be enough. I don't know. Matt Corral, hate to see it.
Dude, Ohio State has to win the national title. I got nothing else sports-wise this year. The Hornets are miserable. The Panthers are miserable. Cincinnati should be pretty good, but they're going to lose week 1 to Arkansas. They've got that's a terrible schedule. It lines up awful for them.
Yeah.
So Ohio State must win the national title this year.
Because you have a true freshman starting at quarterback, right?
No, but it's going to be it's going to be, if Prater starts, it's going to be like his first real game. He's thrown 11 passes, and it's at Arkansas week 1.
Oh, that's brutal.
That. And they've lost half their starters. They're not winning that game.
That's brutal.
Anyway, any other NFL news?
I don't think so. I mean, there's Sam Howell, who's looked pretty decent.
No, he hasn't. He's looked pretty decent. He's looked bad. I'm sorry. His first game was bad.
He's had some moments.
How many
okay, that one throw probably should have been a pick. The one that Nico was hyping up, where it was like on the sideline.
I think that play should have been a pick. That film is subjective with that throw, because it did hit the wide receiver in the numbers, and it's a difficult throw to throw it back shoulder that far down the field. But I think a competent cornerback with ball skills picks that off. And he had another pick another drop pick where he was late throwing an out route, and it got jumped. He also got sacked, I believe, twice in that game. So that's 2 potential pick throws and 2 sacks in 20 dropbacks. That's horrible. And then in the next,
guess, but like I'm also thinking up from the perspective of like, he's a 5th round rookie.
Right. Exactly. That is the thing. That is like, he might have even looked okay for a 5th round rookie, but I've seen so many. Howell is better than Wentz tweets. I've seen many like Howell is the best quarterback. I don't even think he's better than Heineke at this point. Like he's looked more like a 5th rounder than everybody is saying. And if it was like some random dude, I might be like, oh yeah, like he's been okay for a 5th rounder, I suppose. But Sam Howell's got some star power to him. All right, everyone knows who that is. And everybody's just waiting to hype him up. And in the last game, I even thought that his pocket presence improved. And there was a drive. There was a pretty nice throw. I can't remember who it was to put him on like the 1 yard line. I was like, okay, that was pretty good. And then he just threw like a horrible interception. I don't know if it was a miscommunication or what, but I literally took out my stopwatch and I timed it. He was in the pockets for 4 seconds. Okay. So every route is done after 4. Every route is done after 4 seconds.
That's a long time.
He threw it 4 seconds into play and just was like a horrible like pick that pretty much lost him the game. So I'm like, I can't sit here and say that he has earned the starting job over Carson Wentz. That's all I can say about Sam Howell.
Not a chance. It's just like you're in the realm of like moments, you're in the realm of Bailey Zappi, and the difference is like no one has expectations for Bailey Zappi, and everyone for some reason seems to have expectations for Sam Howell.
Yeah,
the real backup who's fighting for the starting role is Josh Dobbs. That is far more realistic. He has a whole bunch of yards right now. Josh Dobbs, man.
Oh, right, because
for the Browns, totally could happen.
Listen,
you could get some game time. Their quarterback room of Jacoby Brissett, Josh Dobbs, and Josh Rosen is awesome.
I do wonder if I don't think they'll trade for Garoppolo, and I think that would be
for Garoppolo.
That would be a really interesting move because hypothetically, Garoppolo could give them, good Baker tier quarterback, like what he was doing under Stefanski when everybody was telling me he was a top 10 quarterback. Hypothetically, that could maybe be good enough quarterback play to lead an efficient offense and maybe have them in striking distance by the time week 12 rolls around. So it'll be interesting, but they've already given up so many resources for
that's what I'm saying.
A quarterback. Like, are they going to give up more for Garoppolo? But it could mean it could mean the playoffs right now. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I would say, I think I would probably not trade for him just because, like, looking at the roster objectively, again, a Cooper injury, the interior defensive line.
I don't think the roster is good enough to justify it.
Well, you thought they were winning 8 games. You thought they were winning 8 games.
I don't know. I kind of think I would.
I don't think Garoppolo elevates you to 11.
I don't think it. Listen to this. Listen to this. Their first 4 games are Panthers, Jets, Pittsburgh, Atlanta. With Garoppolo, I honestly wonder if they would be favored in all of those games. There's a very real world where Garoppolo gets you 5 or 6 wins in those first 11 games, and then you're in striking distance at the end of the season. Now, it all comes down to how much like it cost asset wise, but
I guess the thing is, you could trade Garoppolo again. Could you not?
I mean, I guess
if he's not that easy to trade.
Yes.
The 49ers are not having an easy time trading him.
Yeah.
But
just trade him back to the 49ers.
I don't know. If you told the 49ers we're going to save you $20 million in salary cap.
Well, he's a free agent after this year.
Yeah.
So you could get a comp pick for him and say if he plays well and he walks in free agency, you get a 4th round pick for that. And maybe it would cost about a 4th. And maybe it would cost about a 4th rounder to get him in the first place.
General Manager Theo Ash.
Hey, and we should probably already trade Kareem Hunt. Maybe you just do Kareem Hunt for Garoppolo 1-for-1 and then get a 4th out of it. Like,
I would do that if I was the 49ers.
Yeah, I think that that's not a bad idea. Now that I thought about it originally, I'm like, I don't know, but yeah, they're
if we could get a comp pick for Garoppolo, I'd be willing to make the trade. But like just getting Garoppolo, I feel like that's not as much of a positive as people think it is.
It wouldn't be, yeah, and I guess he's not on a long contract, so it's not like there would be, and we would project Watson would play well enough that this wouldn't happen, but there would never be any kind of quarterback controversy anyway. Like there'd be no chance of it.
Imagine we trade for Garoppolo and then we just stink anyway. Like
it's not, but like it's not too big of a cost, honestly.
But Garoppolo wouldn't. I mean, they're only playing paying Watson $1 million this year. And then the contract starts to kick in. But you're not investing in Jimmy's contract past this year. He's a free agent. So I still, now that I've talked myself through it, I guess it does make sense. And I don't think that that's off the table for them yet. But I'm sure there's some reason that.
I am not a Garoppolo fan, but I don't know. We'll see.
I'm not either, but he's better than Brissett.
I think I guess he's better than Brissett.
I mean, he was like top 10 in every efficiency metric, like DVOA, EPA.
But think about who is Garoppolo throwing to in San Francisco? Kittle,
right.
Ayuk, Debo.
He's definitely a product of
slander.
He's definitely a product.
I love David Njoku, but
he's definitely a product of his environment to a high degree. When you see numbers like that, it doesn't mean that Jimmy Garoppolo is a top 10 quarterback, but I don't think Brissett is putting up any kind of top 10 numbers, even in that situation. I think that Garoppolo has been efficient and for a while, and it's not in a way that is super duper impressive or can go get you a bucket when you need a bucket at the end of a game and need to go drive down the field and win like they did against the Rams, and he totally choked, but he botched it. But he can win you more games than Brissett can, and that puts you in striking distance than Watt. So that's not off the table, I guess. It makes sense to me.
You know what is on the table? Trade Coffee is on the table. One of our best friends over here at Stay Hot, and I think we're all pretty obsessed with Trade Coffee. I told you guys, told you guys before, my parents love it. Matt and Theo love it. And right now, Trade Coffee is offering a quiz to specifically select the perfect blend for you. Every time you take this quiz, they recommend you something awesome. I recommended my parents the Costa Rica La Manita, and it's one of the best cold brew coffees they've ever had. Right. So, and Theo, I'm pretty sure you've had it too. And you said it was,
it is good. I should just be reading this because you don't drink coffee.
I don't drink coffee, but my parents do, and they liked it.
It is good. Right? It's just funny because
I'm not a caffeine consumer, but I know caffeine consumers, and I will advocate on their behalf. And there's just and I can vouch for this. There is something about making things yourself exactly the way you like it that is just more pristine. And right, and Trade Coffee's quality ingredients, you're always getting something great that you're going to love. And even if you're not obsessed with your first bag, Trade will take your feedback, and an actual real-life coffee expert will work with you to find a new, better-suited bag at no extra cost. Right now, Trade is offering new subscribers a total of $30 off your first order, plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/stayhot. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free. Get started by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/stayhot and let Trade find you a coffee that you'll love. Again, that's drinktrade.com/stayhot for $30 off. All right, let's get into our top 5 offenses. We're predicting top 5 offenses, and we'll do a wild card also. But I think I'm going first.
A wild card is
someone
in a team
could be on the fringe, could be a top 5, but maybe not. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Just an honorable mention, I guess. Maybe that's a better way to describe an honorable mention.
I picked mine as a wild card. Not number 6, a wild team that I don't know about. So I'm sticking with a wild card.
Oh, okay. I guess that works too. Okay. Yeah, since Matt wants to do that, that's what we're gonna do.
Matt got into it too.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'm the odd one here. But it's basically gonna be the same thing. But anyway, my top 5 projected offenses, I guess I'll go in order 5 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Bucks, Ravens, Chargers, Eagles, Bills.
Man. I mean, we've talked about the Eagles a lot, but
I'm dick riding the Eagles a little bit. I am. It's a lot of projection that Jalen Hurts, elevates, but they had the best rushing offense in football last year. I think the addition of AJ Brown's pretty big. I expect to jump out of Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert's a really, really high level tight end. So I do like the assets that they have there. And I think if Jalen Hurts, I don't even think Jalen Hurts would have to be like some elite passer. I think they could still just have a high level rushing attack. And if their passing offense is close to top 10, I think that would be enough to make them, one of the best offenses in football. So maybe not number 2. Maybe number 2 is a little high, but I think they can definitely be top 5.
You had them over the Chargers?
I think the Eagles are going to run the ball better, and I like the receiving assets better in Philly.
I think that they might run the ball better, but I think to be an elite offense, running the football is important. It is, and a lot of analytics people will heavily underrate what running the football does for you. However, it is true that the best offenses are the best passing offenses.
You're probably right.
None of them should just exclusively pass the football or pass the football at a 90% clip. But I do value passing and confidence in the passing offense more than I value
and Justin Herbert's him. I get it. I like Justin Herbert's amazing. So maybe I could understand Eagles might be a little too high, but I still think I definitely think they're going to be a top 5 offense. I have no doubt in my mind about that. I think they're extremely high level.
You want to go, Theo?
Sure. I have got starting with, I guess, 5 and working my way up. I will go with the Vikings, the 49ers,
okay,
the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, and the Chargers. So no Bills. No Bills. And the Bills would probably be number Ravens. 6 or number 7. No Ravens. The Bills were not a top 5. They were a borderline top 10 unit in the offensive department last year. I think they were 10th in yards and points per drive. They were a borderline top 10 in most metrics that you'll find. They were a little bit more inconsistent than you'd think. And I think that I'm expecting about the same results from them this year. So maybe not top 5, but around 7, around 6, around 8, which is not exact, which is you could put them top 5. I'm not mad at it. But for me, I just kind of project about the same as last year. I'm projecting a big jump from the Vikings, which was an average offense last year. But again, I really do think that we have seen under Stefanski, that core was a top 5 offense in terms of efficiency, and they put up some really good passing seasons in terms of, like I said, efficiency. And I think they're going to kind of get back to that under O'Connell and more of the McVay stuff. You look at Cousins, who threw 34 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but he had a nice season last year. Again, he's someone that I don't think is quite the top flight quarterback that his numbers suggest, because he is not someone that is going to aggressively attack the field, especially once his first read is gone. He's usually, looking more for the check down, but he avoids turnovers. I think he does a pretty good job executing the offense, and I think it's going to be a pretty good offense. They've got Cook. I think Jefferson in the slot more is going to be a boon for them, and I think that he's going to have a real offensive player of the year candidacy this year. I like what they did, and I think that they're going to be a really efficient unit. You got Dalvin, even though the offensive line is bad. I think they're going to be able to run the football decently well. Cousins' pocket presence.
We saw the Bengals kind of do something similar this year with Joe Mixon. Their offensive line wasn't great, but Joe Mixon was, I think, top 3 in rushing. So
we'll see. I think that the coaching change. I'm relatively high on them, and I think that Cousins is going to operate that offense to a pretty high level. So I think I've got them at number 5, and then the 49ers. I've talked about Trey Lance a million times. I like him. This is an offense that has been quite good in the past with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that Lance is going to be pretty good year 2 right away. From what I've seen from him, I like what I've seen from him. So, yeah.
I mean, the 49ers were I think my 6 or 7. I'm just I'm just kind of unsure about them right now. I think they're going to be a damn good team, but there's a lot of question marks for me with Lance.
Yes, Lance is definitely a projection, and it's not based on anything he's shown, because he hasn't really shown. Well, yeah, we haven't seen him that much, but I really do think he's going to be a high-level quarterback right away. And this offense with a high-level quarterback is going to be scary. And then the Chiefs, so far they've done a lot of more under center stuff in the preseason. They're not quite as spread out without Tyreek Hill. They're not just bombing it down the field. They're a little bit more traditional offense, more of what Andy Reid was doing in Philadelphia. And so far in three drives, Patrick Mahomes has 222 yards. This preseason, he's played 3 drives. He has almost 300 yards. He's been crazy. I get that it's preseason. I get it.
Yeah.
But he's looked super sharp so far. It looks like it's all systems go. He's hit some ridiculous throws. Just ridiculous production. I mean, his whole career since he's been the starter, he's been elite. Even last year in a down year for him, it was still clear top 5 quarterback. He's going to be a top 5 quarterback again. I think that the offensive line is good. The weapons are going to be good enough. I think the running back room is a little stronger than it was last year. And I think that overall this is going to be a top 5 offense again. Then the Chargers, obviously Justin Herbert is him. They were the second best offense in terms of points and yards per drive last year. No reason they can't do that again. I'm projecting maybe even more growth from Herbert to be like an MVP candidate. And then the Buccaneers, Brady, Julio, Godwin, Evans, good offensive line.
Bucks. I assume we were all going to have the Bucks and Chargers.
I don't know. Buccaneers offensive line is banged up.
True, their center.
Where's their receivers? They're banged up.
You don't have them in the top 5? Is that what
do you not have them in the top 5
my
now?
top 5.
Okay. He's just filming The Masked Singer. Don't worry. He's coming back soon. Yeah, so I guess he got eliminated.
Surely.
Neither of you guys had the Bengals. I disagree pretty strongly with that.
Yeah, I knew you would, but they're going to be a good unit. They're going to be a good unit. I've got them. If they were in my top 10, they'd be in my top 10. Or if we were doing a full top 10, they'd be in my top
10. See, that's the thing. Is like there's so many that I'm like, yeah, this is definitely top 10. But then there's some offenses that I'm just like a little bit higher on. That I think
I don't know. I look at a team like the Eagles, and I take the Bengals at everything other than offensive line. Look at a team like the Vikings. Offensively, I'm taking the Bengals at absolutely everything on that offense. Give me their receivers. Give me their running back. Well, running backs, I guess, maybe not, but like the gap between Dalvin Cook and Joe Mixon is whatever.
It's pretty insignificant, yeah.
Yeah, who cares? And we're going into year 3 for Burrow. What if he takes another step, you know? And I really love their receivers. I think their offensive line, like they ran it a lot with Mixon, not that efficiently last year. And this year, I think you're going to see a little bit more of Burrow, maybe a few less. Like you're not going to see quite as many Mixon touches, but I think they're going to be a lot more efficient. I mean, they had an awful offensive line last year. They were starting Isaiah Prince in the Super Bowl, and it was rough, dude.
Their offensive line, especially towards the end, got pretty rough. What I would say is, give me O'Connell over Zach. Zach Taylor is my I raise my eyebrow, because as far as his scheme goes, it is static, it is not creative, and it relies a lot on just miracle. I don't want to say miracles, but it's just it doesn't make life easier for the offense, which I guess makes it more impressive. And if Zach Taylor grows a little bit, then things could get really scary. But Zach Taylor is the one thing where I like raise my eyebrow, because like last year, this was not an elite offense, and I think Zach Taylor is a big reason why. But I do agree, Matt, where it's like the Bengals are an honorable mention for me, but they could definitely be a top 5 offense. But
Zach Taylor, they can get into that range, but we saw their offense slow down a lot in the playoffs, and I don't think that's a coincidence. You know, with the exception of like
I think it was their offensive line.
I mean, yeah. You can look at the offensive line and definitely say they got sacked 9 times against Tennessee.
I mean, I would say that I would say the same thing for the Eagles.
Yeah, they got crushed by Tampa in the playoffs. So I get it. And their offensive line was phenomenal, but they had like who was their number 2 receiver was what, like Quez Watkins?
They had Hurts. That was their problem. Hurts sucked in the playoffs. He was awful. That was why they got killed. It wasn't their wide receivers. It was Hurts. That's what you're looking for. Oh, why were they bad?
I love Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts was why. Sorry.
Yeah. He is not proven he can just drop back and beat you. And he's got it. Asking a guy to grow into that is like, that's pretty major projection. But I do like him. I think the offense will be good for the Eagles, but man,
Yeah. Matt,
I have the Chiefs as my number one offense. I think that Patrick Mahomes is still him. I think, losing Tyreek is bad, but I don't even hate their weapons. They have a great offensive line. I think the way they operate, I think 1 through 5 is pretty close, but I think I totally still believe in them, I guess, even without Hill. And it sounds disrespectful to Hill, but it's not. He's still great. It's just, I have faith in that. And like you said, they've been amazing in the preseason. I've got the Chargers at 2, the Bengals at 3, the Bills at 4, and then the Buccaneers at 5.
Interesting. Neither of you had the Ravens.
I think the wide receiving core, I like the Ravens a lot. And it's kind of similar to the Eagles, where it's like, I value some of these teams. I think all of these teams, I'm pretty confident in saying that I've got on my list. I guess maybe the 49ers are a little bit of a question mark. But like all of these teams, I feel better about their wide receiving core. And the Ravens drop back passing game, and a lot of it is on Greg Roman, a lot of it is on the wide receiving core. Some of it has been on Lamar over the past couple of years on why it hasn't been an elite passing offense. But this year with that wide receiving core and Greg Roman, even though I like Lamar and I hope that he lights the world on fire more than anything. I don't trust the infrastructure around him. And I do acknowledge that he's not like the level of passer that like Mahomes is or anything like that, to the point where I think they'll have a very good rushing attack. And I do think they'll have a decent passing attack because I do like Bateman. But for top five,
and not even just Bateman, like Bateman's going to be good, I think. And then like Mark Andrews, I think is like absolutely the most underrated tight end in football. That dude is out of this world good. I mean, he catches everything. He just absorbs the football. And then, from what we've seen in preseason, Isaiah Likely looked pretty solid.
I'm not betting on a 4th round rookie tight end.
I'm just saying, like, as far as guys underneath, like just extra assets, like I think this can be a very dangerous offense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I don't disagree that it's dangerous, but they haven't been top 5 the past 2 years. I don't think that Greg Roman is going to design a top 5 off. That's kind of where I'm at here. I don't think Greg Roman
and Zach Taylor are holding back the Bengals and Ravens right now.
I think their rushing game is going to be really good. I think they're going to be a good offense. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to field an elite one, so that's why I didn't put them on there.
Yeah, I still can't get over you not having the Bills. Like I saw
no Bills for you, Theo?
Theo didn't put the Bills, and it's like you talk about how good the Chiefs have been in preseason. I mean, didn't the Bills have like 7 straight possessions in like team practice where they didn't?
The difference is, the Bills, I mean, they annihilated the Broncos in the last preseason game. The difference is the Chiefs were the number 1 team in offensive yards and points per drive last year. And the Bills were like about top 10. So the Chiefs are coming from a place where they were literally maybe the best offense last year. The Bills are not quite coming from that place. They were the 10th best offense via DVOA last year. They were 5th the year before that when Josh Allen was completely out of this world. So that's a 5th ranked offense, and that's borderline top 5 is what we're talking about. And then 10th last year. I'm projecting them to be in the 5 to 10 range again. It's not a bad take to say they'd be the best offense in the league. It's not a bad take. They'll say they're top 5. But for me, in both of these Josh Allen elite years, they've been 5 and 10. So for this year to have them be like 1 or 2, I just think they'll be between 5 and 10 again, which is like a great offense. And they're going to have one of the best defenses too. Like they're a Super Bowl contender. I don't want to come off as like this Bills hater. I like Shakir. I like Shakir. I guess I like Gabe Davis a decent amount. But their receiving core after Diggs is like, it is a little questionable, and their running back room
you think it's pretty good. Like Gabe Davis showed out in the playoffs. They have
Isaiah McKenzie. It's good.
They have guys. They have some of the best slot guys.
Yeah, it's not like when I look at the Bucs, it's like I think the Bucs have an elite offensive line. I don't think the Bills have like an elite offensive line. Assuming health, like the Bucs have like an elite wide receiving core. I don't think the Bills have like from top to bottom a elite wide receiving core. So I think they're going to be in the 5 to 10 range. I think they're going to be in the 5 to 10. Josh Allen's the highs. I mean, he's incredible.
That's how I feel about the Chiefs right now. I'm like, Mahomes is going to be exceptional. and I think they're going to slow the offense down a little bit. It's going to be a lot of Kelsey, a lot of Juju. So I don't know if they're going to have. I think losing the explosives might be the one. I mean, they might not even lose the explosives, like with Hardman.
That's the thing, man.
And
I think
like they could still have it. They could still have it.
Mahomes creates the explosives. They're fine.
Yeah, they're still going to be damn good, right? But I see more as a 5 to 10. I think losing Tyreek is still like that's still a big loss.
Mahomes like took over in what year? Was it 2019 or 2018?
18, because that's when he won MVP. Lamar won MVP in 19.
Yes. The Chiefs were the 4th ranked offense in 2017, and that was with Alex Smith by DVOA. They were 4th. And that's what Andy Reid can do for you.
Yeah.
All right. That's what Andy Reid can do for you. And he's going to do it again. All right. Yeah. He's going to do it again. And Mahomes is still there. They're going to be a top 5 offense, and they're going to make the playoffs. And I think as I've been building my roster, my record predictions and my Super Bowl predictions, I think Chiefs and Chargers AFC Championship game. The Bills, I love them, but
I think it'll be Chiefs Bills rematch.
Chiefs Bills rematch.
Okay,
sorry, man.
Right.
Bills get them this time, Matt.
Nah, there's some elite heavy hitters in that AFC, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. I think that those games are going to be must watch this year, man. Those Chiefs Chargers games.
But I like all of the I like the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Chargers, and the Ravens. I like all these teams.
There's so many good offenses here, man. I started building out my list of like top offenses, and I wrote down like 13, and I was like, "Fuck."
Run Your Pool is the home of competition, bringing sports fans and their social circles closer together to compete, connect, and make every game matter more. I was thinking about this. I can make all of my lock picks in this pool right now, like weeks 1 through 17.
Right.
And I was going to do it I'm just going to do it right now. But then I stopped at like week 10. I think my lock for week 1 is either the 49ers over the Bears or the Saints over the Falcons. And I should probably do 49ers over the Bears.
For the Bears, I think have the worst roster in football. I would agree with you there.
Fields, this is not part of the ad read. Fields has not looked good this preseason. I'm sorry, Bears fans. He's missed.
Fields hasn't looked good. Bro, the Bears offensive line against Seattle it was embarrassing. That dude had
it looked worse.
He had .01. He had .01 seconds to throw like every play.
No, it's so crazy. That's an exaggeration.
Have no talent on their entire roster except they hit on their quarterback.
So I think Fields has been a little bit shaky this preseason, and I know Bears fans are going to yell at me like, "Oh, it's a situation," and it is a shitty situation. But
the worst.
Fields, there have been times where Fields has had more on the table, and he has not taken it when the situation and when the people around him have actually done their jobs. But anyway, that's probably why I'm going to switch my pick from the Saints to the 49ers. But anyway, back to the ad read. Run Your Pool offers every game type under the sun, from Pick'em and Survivor to fantasy pools. It's a one-stop shop for sports gaming with customizable features that you don't get anywhere else. But that's not all. We've teamed up with Run Your Pool to host a pool for us and our listeners. Like I just said, we're actually going to give you guys an opportunity to prove that you know ball. And how do you play? It's simple. Join the pool via the link in this description or at play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. Sign up and make your picks. But why not make it interesting, right? Run Your Pool will be giving out cash prizes to the winner. So if you manage to somehow beat us, you won't walk away empty-handed. So make sure to join today at play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. Again, that's play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. Or just check the link in your description. So, yes, I guess first, before I talk to you about Madden, before we said we were going to do wild card teams. So an offense that maybe people don't think of as an elite offense, but could make it up there as a top 5 unit. Matt, you said that you had one. Bladen, you said that you had one as like an honorable mention. So you're about to say the
I have
something.
2, but like I have 2 for doing like wild cards that people aren't thinking of. But like my honorable mentions would have been like Chiefs and Niners. So like
No, that's not a wild card top 5.
Yeah,
offense,
that's
sadly.
like I'm not gonna. So that's boring. So I'll give you
My
like,
wild card is
fun.
the 49ers because Lance hasn't played.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Kind of simple as that. I'm sorry it's so boring. It's just like
I have something more fun than Matt does. I fear. I have 2: the Saints and the Raiders. Are my. I think the Raiders with Devontae. I think the Raiders with Devontae can be a legit offense. And they were a good offense last year, but I think they can be kind of head and shoulders this year. I think the receiving core is phenomenal. And I think Derek Carr is really, really good. The offensive line might be a little bit questionable outside of Colton Miller. But that's why it's a wild card, The Saints are like, actually, I was thinking about this, like I was driving back to from a meeting before we recorded this. And I literally thought about like, bro, like healthy Jameis Winston was kind of balling last year. They didn't have Michael Thomas. You're going to have Alvin Kamara is not going to get suspended. Like that's like, he's going to play this year. So you're going to have Alvin Kamara. You're going to have healthy Michael Thomas. You're going to have healthy Jameis Winston. Bro, that's a legit offense. That's a really good offense.
We're the ones who are high on the. You're the Saints hater.
I'm the Saints hater. And I thought about this on my drive. I was like, bro, this offense is like terrifying. What?
Vision.
I see the vision. No.
I've got 2 that, again, I don't know if they're wild cards.
Oh, and Chris Olave's been balling. So, like.
Yes. I have the Titans as 1. No, I mean, I've got the Titans as 1. Last year, they were not a great offense. But the year before, they were 4th in DVOA, and the year before that, they were 6th. Now, there's a lot of things that are different from 2 years ago to now. Arthur Smith is not there anymore. A.J. Brown is not there anymore. But I do think, like, you've got that history of pretty efficient play, and last year they did survive a lot of injuries on that offense. So I do think that there's a chance that they bounce back to where they were in 2019 and 2020 with a little bit of a healthier unit. So I've got them as maybe a sleeper to have a top 5 offense. And then the other one is maybe Dallas. I don't know how much of a sleeper they are, but they literally led the league in points scored last year. They were first. No one scored more points. And yes, they lost Amari Cooper, but they could still be 5th, So none of us mentioned Dallas. None of us mentioned Dallas. And I didn't mention Dallas either.
I love Dallas.
But I do think their wide receiving core is thin, all right? And their offensive line is getting – Tyron Smith has been really injury prone. Zach Martin's getting up there. I do like Tyler Smith, but he's a raw prospect who could be kind of a holding penalty right away. They were just – Mike McCarthy is their head coach, and he can always screw everything up. So there's reasons to kind of fade the Dallas offense in terms they won't be as good as they were last year. But in terms of teams that none of us have mentioned, that's one. But none of those are crazy wild card. Like, I'm not going to come out here and say the New York Football Giants or anything like that.
No, I don't think any of us were going to say that. I do kind of like Dallas. I've been projecting a Zeke resurgence all off season. I thought he made my top 100. I thought he was a legit good runner last year, even though like he barely had over 1,000 yards.
He was all right.
And from what I've seen, like in camp and just like Twitter, and Twitter's going to have some hype because it's all like Dallas Cowboys like fan accounts, but like he seems to be like having some pretty good sessions. So I'm excited for Zeke this year.
See, I looked at him and I thought he just looked fat. I was like, he looks big.
He was just wearing a hoodie, man. He was just wearing a hoodie.
Maybe.
This is not Zeke Lacey. Don't.
You have answers. Okay. I wanted to ask you guys about Madden 23 because I do not have it. But Bladen, you seem to think that it's a fantastic Madden, and you've been raving about it.
I love it.
I know you made a TikTok about it, but I figured I'd just ask you on the podcast, so I didn't watch it. What about Madden 23 is so good compared to the last ones?
You have so much control. I mean, you have so much control. Like with every single player that you have that you're like usering, you have complete control. When you're passing, you have complete control over placement and power. which you've kind of had in the past, but it's more precise now. And you also have complete control over the receiver once the ball is in the air. Like you can click onto the receiver and adjust exactly where you want to be to try and make a catch. And then the catch animations, and like if it's a contested catch, it's like a legit contested catch animation. Like I had a play where I was playing with Jacksonville and I threw a corner route to Evan Ingram, and it fell a little bit short. So I came back through the defender to like battle for the catch. And he ended up making the catch, right? And like the ball got batted out of his hands and he caught it. Like he came back to catch it. So it's like little things like that where I'm like, okay, that's really realistic, high level experiences. And then like as a runner, I feel it's more fluid and smooth. Everything's just more, it's just cleaner. Animations look better. It looks more realistic. It feels more realistic.
All that control only for you to run one play exclusively.
Literally, bro. I made a video about this also. Like, some people complain about like guys on like this one guy on TikTok just runs like inside zone every play, and it's like different formations, but it's just like inside zone every play.
I used to do that with fullback dive on like Madden 17. I ran fullback dive so much.
It's just like inside zone or like halfback dive. It's always just like an inside zone run every single play. And
I saw that video and all the comments are like, you forgot the part where you're supposed to have fun. Why you're not having any fun doing this? It's like, yes, you are.
I'm like, the dude's running like his opponent's running like 4-man boxes. What do you expect him to do? Not run the ball?
I had so much fun just calling fullback dive and just like it working play after play after play. People are, oh, you're not having fun. Cry. Oh, sorry, I'm not throwing bullshit picks that get batted up in the air.
Yeah, it's like cope. Like, I'm sorry. It's like I have fun when I'm winning. So yeah, no.
You in Madden though. I hate playing you in Madden. That was some of the least fun I've ever had playing a video game. I'm sure you had fun, but like for the listeners out there, I had like 10 sacks on Bladen in this game because all he would run is like 4 verticals.
Hey, it's 3 verticals and a corner route.
3 verticals, but
and really, it's 2 verticals, a post, and a corner.
I forget. It was so easy to stop. Your offense was terrible. I have no idea how it works all the time.
Well, the thing is, we were playing on PlayStation. This is
we couldn't. I couldn't pass at all. Yeah,
I think we still kept throwing picks. I think, yeah. Yes, if it was on Xbox, I think I could beat you. Actually, it wasn't. Well,
if we're playing in a game where like I have, if we're talking about like we get perfect situation, well then I also get my full playbook, right?
You run one play.
I have more than one play in my playbook, but when I'm having to pick a playbook that's not my own, I pick the Patriots because they have my favorite play. They have my favorite set. So I just run that. And if I get stopped in it, well then I'm just cooked because I don't know the other plays in this playbook. But I have a playbook where I have
don't
other
know
plays.
Them.
I'm trying. Like I have like a system of plays that I go through depending on what I see, like on the defense.
I remember I had like 5 sacks and 10. Like I had like 10 sacks and like 5 picks against you because you can't beat cover 4. You're like one play is just like is cooked against cover 4.
Cover 4 does not beat it.
But then I couldn't do anything I couldn't do anything on offense, and I would still lose because I didn't know.
I also run cover 4.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my cover 4 is the best cover 4 in the game. It's just a cover 4 drop, and it's unbeatable.
No, I would have cooked it if I knew X wasn't on the bottom anymore. Sadly.
But no, Madden 23 I think is a good game. Matt, you said you have it on PC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing Madden's missing is cross-platform play. Once it gets that, it's like legit going to be it's going to be so great.
Well, if they don't have it now, that's something they're probably
never
right?
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, if they wanted to, it could be there.
I guess. I don't know.
New Madden, would you give it a
Yeah, I like it all right. It's
okay.
About the same.
Fair.
I mean, yeah, it's not like also like shoelace tackles don't happen that frequently anymore.
Yeah, I feel like the tackling's been pretty good.
The tackling, I think, looks. There was I saw a clip on Twitter of someone ran like a play with Debo. It was like a run, and he like ducked under his offensive lineman. Like they were engaged in a block, but there was like a gap underneath, and he just like ducked under. And I'm like, that is so cool. I love that.
As long as it doesn't happen too often, because like that just doesn't happen in football that often.
No, but like if there's a huge gap, if there's like a huge gap and you're like you can't get around and you just go underneath, like I've only seen that once. That has not happened in any of the games that I've played. So, but no, I think it's a really good game. I've had fun. I'm excited for the NCAA game coming out next year. If it's going to be,
I'll get Madden 23 eventually.
W.
I want to get a PS5. Madden. I would like to stream it at some point. I think that would be fun. But
get a PS5. We'll make it happen.
I'm getting an Xbox Series S. Sadly, I'm not getting a PS5. I don't like PlayStation as much.
Ratio. All right, whatever.
Ratio me in real life. By the time you listen, if you listen to this episode when it comes out, the day it comes out, it will be my birthday. So if you've listened all the way to the end, wish me a happy birthday on Twitter, and I'll say thanks.
Happy Theo.
It's true. Your birthday is tomorrow.
Happy Theo Day. I start class tomorrow.
It's my golden birthday. I'm turning 20.
You're 22
on the. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, that's like angel numbers.
It's like angel numbers. It's 22, 22. The thing is, I just moved here and I have like no friends here. So I'm just going to like just drink alone in my tiny room. It's going to be so sad.
I'm getting the first flight out to Flagstaff.
No, literally.
Buddy. Don't you worry. I'll
be there. I'll be there in like 5 hours, man.
I'll drive over now. I'll get there.
I am missing class tomorrow to celebrate your birthday.
Yeah. So since it'll be such a sad and lonely birthday, since I just moved to this new city, be sure to tweet at me and then make it feel like I've got people around me.
Theo, you gotta like screenshot your Twitter account and be like, why is my Twitter broken?
You know you're gonna see this like at like prime birthday hours, like 7 p.m. on my birthday. You're gonna see a Theo Ash NFL upload on TikTok. You're just gonna be like working.
Working.
More importantly, you know who else's birthday it is tomorrow?
Randall Cobb?
No. I mean, yes.
LaMelo
Ball.
LaMelo Ball. Yeah.
LaMelo.
You should wish LaMelo a happy birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to
Happy birthday, LaMelo.
LaMelo.
Yes.
But not Theo. Don't wish Theo. Wish LaMelo.
Yeah. That's a good thing. And then I'll reply to it with the like balloons like thing, and I'll say, "What the fuck, man? It's my birthday." And then you can respond to it like, "Don't care," and it'll all get a lot of likes, and it'll be all pre-planned. Let's do it.
Yeah, we gotta start having more like fake Twitter beef. I think that'll be good for the podcast.
Yeah,
it is.
So anyway, I'll tweet out happy birthday Randall Cobb. Matt, you tweet out happy birthday LaMelo Ball, and then Theo's just
make my birthday as sad as possible. No one remembers.
The saddest birthday of all time. But
that's what I'm trying to have, man.
Nothing to smile about. But as always, tons of content coming on all platforms. We'll be back with another episode shortly. NFL season's so close. I am so excited to watch my Browns not be good this year. But as always, from Corn Boy, Bird Boy, and Lemon Boy, we'll catch you all on the flippity flop.